I'll start. Okay, that has been started. Thank you, Rahul ji. And over to you, Nitin ji. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Pranay and Vijay for a wonderful session. उद्यमेनि सिद्ध्यन्ति कार्याणि न मनोरथे न हि सुप्तस्य सिंहस्य प्रवेशे मृगा.
Very
धन्यवाद.
good. Dhanyavada. Excellent.
Dhanyavadah, Namo Namo. So time for us to do some Udyam as well. So Radhe Radhe everybody. Today's in India, it's a Valentine's Day, Gopi Prem Divas. So we thought we will talk about love today. Okay, and I'm sure you love to hear more about love, and we'll talk about true love and worldly love and whatnot. Okay, so very warm welcome to all of you. We shall get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. And if you are joining new, you're joining in for the first time, please mention it in chat or in our feedback tracker. We would love to hear from you in the last 5 minutes or so of our session, or after the session concludes. It's important to know the new participants and how they got associated, and it's always good to get inputs. So very warm welcome once again. Happy Gopi Prem Divas, happy Valentine's Day or Valentine Eve. Let's get started. Today we are going to do it a little differently. We'll cover some stuff today. So let me share my screen and we will get underway. Okay. Able to see my screen? Great. So let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. Good morning, good evening to all of you. So let's get started. I have picked up a shloka 4.10. It mentions about God's divine love in the shloka. And then he also qualifies this love with certain attributes. If we are free from them, then that's when we get the divine love, attain his divine love. And that divine love is the parikashtha, epitome, zenith, peak, or perfection of love in any form. And then we will compare and contrast it with the material love, or the true so-called true love in this material world, right? Love is the most used, abused, overly used term in this world. So we'll talk about that. So let's get started. I'm going to recite it. You're welcome to follow along. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa Uta madbhavamagataha. All right. So, who do we have a pleasure to invite first today?
Radhe Radhe Sam ji, as always. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Sam.
Vitaraga bhayakrodha manmaya mamupashita bahavo gnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Let's pick up a few more hands.
Surya Prakash ji, SSPG, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji, Sanjay ji. Vitaraga bhayakrodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhava magataha.
Very nice. SSPG, Radhe Radhe. Okay, just to recap, today we have picked up the topic of love. It's being a Valentine, a Gopi Prem Divas today. So we'll be talking about that. Yes, let's pick up the remaining hands.
So I will first take those who have their cameras on, and you are all encouraged to keep
And
your videos on.
congratulations for people who have turned their cameras on and already earned a point for their teams. Okay, so let's move on.
Yes, the scoreboard is running. Okay, Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे वीत राग भय क्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिता बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भाव मागता राधे राधे
Very nice. Thank you, Rahul. Okay, let's pick up a few more hands.
Thank you, Uday ji, for turning on your video. Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Happy Gopi Prem Divas to all. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mam Upashrita Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhavam Agata. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Uday. Very nice. Wonderful.
Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Shyamji.
Thank you so much, Radhe Radhe. वीतराग भये क्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रितः बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भाव मागतः राधे राधे
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe. Thank you. All right, last 5 maybe.
There are more, but okay, yeah. Surinder ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya ji, thank you.
Radhe Radhe. Sorry.
Vit raga bhayo krodha manmaya mama pashita bhavho jnana tapsa puta mad bhava agavata. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Surendraji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, last 4 then. Please turn on your video if you want to increase your odds of getting called up. Okay.
Yes, Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Sumeshi.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji, Radhe Radhe everyone. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamupasritaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madhava Magataha.
Wonderful.
Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice. Radhe Radhe. Thank you. Maybe 3 more hands. We'll see how many.
Yes, Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah. Radhe Radhe.
Thank Radhe Radhe. वीतराग भय क्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रितः बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भाव मागताः.
Wonderful. Very nice. Pragiji. Last 2.
Okay, Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Happy Gopi Prem Divas. वीतराग भय क्रोधा मन्मया माम उपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूतमद्भावमागताः.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll freeze the hands and let's pick the remaining ones, whoever is there.
Okay.
Let's quickly do that. That's a Gopi Prem Divas discount, okay? What's up, everybody?
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mam Upashritaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhavamagataha.
Full Riyaji, thank you. Okay, last 3 hands, and then we get started into a fascinating journey into the love aspect of, the love in this world and what is true love. Let's quickly take the remaining hands.
Ratna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamupashritaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madhava Magataha.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ratna ji. I see Yash Kalyam ji, a new hand today. So let's take him and then a remaining 2 as well.
Yes, Yashveer ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Ji, very nice. I'm glad you were able
Yeah.
to join today.
Thank you. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Vanmaya Mamupashrita Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Bhuta Madbhavam Agataha.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, last two hands and then we get started.
Yes, Anita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Happy Prem Divas to all.
Happy.
Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamupashritaha Bahavo Gnana Tapasa Puta Madbhavamagataha. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Wonderful. Very nice. Last but not the least, Sandhya, go ahead.
Yeah. Radhe Radhe. Vitarag bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha.
Wonderful. Thank you. So let's get started. In this shloka, I have picked up this shloka. I've just broken the sequence like I always do. I take that liberty from time to time. And this one I picked up because it talks about divine love. Okay. And love is the theme for our discussion today. So I thought let's pick it up. Being free from, let's see what are the qualifications even to get to the state of getting an eligibility to receive God's divine love. And by the way, divine love is the, like I explained right at the beginning, the epitome parikashtha, or the perfection of love that is possible, that we can do. And we'll talk about that concept. What he's saying is being free from attachment. First of all, this love is from a position of, not from a position of attachment. It's away from that. Fear, anger, and becoming fully absorbed in me, taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, thus attained my divine love. Okay. Now let's get started. I picked up the shloka. We'll not get to the real depths of this, maybe a little bit more tomorrow. But let's talk about that divine love, and see how it stacks up against the love that we see in this world. Okay, as you see, the concept of true love is what we're going to discuss. You see the parental love, right? Then we have the love from our elders, grandparents, all the relatives, right? That is also another manifestation of love, as you see, right? You see the romantic love, the boy and a girl, and all that love that we are, used to. So these are all different definitions of love. And if you look at it, this is an emotion which drives even the entire universe, including animals as well. If you've seen animals cuddling their kids, so this is an emotion which drives this entire universe. And we'll talk about why it is such an important emotion and what is its place in the path of devotion and spirituality as well. Okay. And try to peel the layers around this concept to truly understand what we construe as love. Is it love, or which category does it fall into? The beauty of our scriptures is it will help you read yourself like a book. Okay, you might not have thought about it, but when you hear that concept, you'll say, yeah, you know what, that is true. And this category, the emotion or the love that I feel, falls into. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so, and we will look at it. We are not going to say it as an opinion. We are going to say it as a principle. Why? How we can say something? What's the difference between an opinion and a principle? Opinion is I feel so. Everybody says that, I think so, I feel so. Okay, that's good. But what is the basis of that? So when we are going to talk about it, we are going to refer to our scriptures for that. What do our scriptures say? So what scriptures say, what saints say, and that is basically a bona fide source we need to tap into, not something which my friend says, neighbor says, or that scholarly uncle says. Okay, doesn't matter, because scriptures say, then it becomes a truth. So let's move with this topic then. All right, by the way, this survey, thank you for putting it up. Okay, so today we post this question, Valentine's Day special poll: where can we find true love? And one of the key thing that I observed was, I don't know, it was coincidental or intentional. Okay, nobody said spouse. Okay, which I found pretty amusing. Most of the people, they are rushing to the stores today to get a rose, but nobody's saying spouse. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, even though they would have married the same spouse thinking that was true love. Okay, and that is what we will put it into a bit of a perspective with regards to our worldly relationships. So I don't know why nobody put that. Okay, but think seriously about it. Okay, at least one should have put it there. Now let's move on. So here's a couple. Okay, beautiful couple. They married each other. Okay, took vow of spending 7 or 14 or 21 lifetimes together, head over heels with each other. Okay, let's talk about this love. As you can see, the picture perfect frame, happily in love with each other, and people who look at it, they will say, wow, cute couple, this, that. You can see it in social media. This is how it goes. This whole drama unfolds. Now they are in love with each other, no doubt about that. Okay, but let's play out a scenario here. Okay, now this guy, he wakes up and finds his wife has turned like this. Okay, 70-year-old. Okay, so same guy, or maybe conversely, let's say the girl wakes up and finds the guy has turned 75-year-old next morning. We'll see, that will be the true test of their love. Okay, and don't get surprised if this is the kind of an emotion they experience immediately afterwards. Okay, that's because if you look at the very basis of forming the relationship, how the relationships are forged in this world. If you ask a guy why you're marrying this girl, they'll say, yeah, the girl, she's pretty smart, she looks good, and Sarv Gun Sampan, she's there, and perfect match for me. And if you ask the girl, why are you settling for this guy, you'll say, my parents suggested, or I fell in love with this guy, and he's well settled, he can earn well, and I have no reason why not. He looks good. So the point is, the relationships that are forged in this world, they are based on gun. We look at a particular attribute or a guna, and that is the basis of that relationship. When that gun goes away, the love around it also evaporates to the same extent. Don't believe it? You'll have to believe it. I'll tell you some scriptural stories also around it. Okay, this is how it works. It is based on guna. In Narad Bhakti Darshan, Narad Ji has said bhakti is gun rahitam, kamana rahitam. Not even a single trace. So you don't go after the gun part of it. See, why we say leave out the Aishwarya Shakti of God? If you are going to worship God because you are amazed, you are revering God because you think how great He is, wow, so much of power, He can show miracles, this, that. That is not a right basis of forming a relationship or love. When that thing goes away, if God doesn't have it, you'll lose love as well. A lot of people, they flock the houses of prime ministers, presidents, like as if they are the ones they are worshipping. But when they are out of post, do they still do that? They will not do that. Why? Because they were not worshipping that guy. They were worshipping the post behind that, the power behind that. That is how the worldly love goes. Rajesh Khanna, when he was in his prime, I think people would drool over him, right? I think he was probably barred from wearing a black dress because girls will go gaga over it, right? And one of his days, during his old age, he was found crying on his balcony during his birthday. Why? Because he was used to seeing so many people around him. They would come and rule over him. And on this day, there was not even a single soul to be seen. What happened to the love and adulation and admiration that they have for this guy? Now he's no longer having that good, which made him so handsome and popular, so people also vanished away. So this is actually the basis of this worldly love. Okay, there is a reason for that. We'll get into that as well. But this is typically how the worldly love goes. You are focused on that particular gun. That gun starts going withering away, your love will also start withering away. It's very, very conditional, simply conditional. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a scriptural story. Okay, as you see, this king, you see the king? You might be wondering why I put a king ulta, upside down, but it'll make sense. Okay, so just hang on. Now this king's name is Bhartrihari. Okay, so this king's name is Bhartrihari. Now this guy, this king, he was a very good king. Okay, used to rule very nicely, and people were really You're able to see my screen, right? Good. Yeah. So he led his kingdom very, very effectively, efficiently. He was a very nice king. And he was ruling Ujjain. But he was having a sage kind of a mind, and that's how people would say. Now he experienced a tragedy initially in his life. He lost his wife in early youth. And you know what was the reason for that? Those are very unusual circumstances. What happened one day, Bhartrihari was passing by a funeral and he saw a Brahmin's widow. She burnt herself. You know, there was Sati Pratha in India until Raja Ram Mohan Rai came. So he saw this lady who burnt herself on the pyre. So when he came back to the palace, he narrated this entire story to his wife, the first wife, whose name was Sita, Rani Sita, she was called, and told her that, you know, the virtuous women, they die with their husbands. But the wife said no. The real reason for the wives to die is because they die by the fire of grief alone. Okay, she had that belief system that they die by grief only, not by the flames of the pyre. That much love is there between them. Now he doubted that genuineness, and one day he sent back his royal robe torn, you know, just sent out a signal when he had gone out to his loving wife to see her reaction. However, the moment she saw it, before somebody could tell her that it was a joke, she actually died. And he was in deep sorrow because of this incident, Bhartrihari. Okay. He was in deep sorrow because he lost his wife and he lost interest in general in everything. And people started worrying whether our king would be able to rule or not. But let's see what happens to his love now. You know, that much he loved his wife that, you know, he was in complete remorse. Now the fun starts. All right, so the story starts. You see the heels here? Now this king he fell head over heels with a girl called Pingala. Okay, head over heels, as you can see. That is why I put him upside down. That much he fell in love with her, that he could not think of anybody else but Pingala. Okay, and so much so that he would do, you know, funny things. You know, people, when they are in love with somebody, they go to any extent to please other person. He will do those kind of things to the extent of annoying her. She would get annoyed that what kind of a person is he who's going, first of all, he's head over heels, as you can see, and he's doing so many crazy things to impress me. So she would not really appreciate it. Okay, so but there was something else going on in her life as well. We'll talk about it. Now, after a while, there was a sage who came to him. Okay, this Brahmin came to this king and he said, I have got a fruit that will keep the person whom you love or you youthful forever, and you can have a romantic life for the rest of your life. He said, wonderful. He said, the king said, if you have such kind of a fruit, why don't you keep it for yourself? You know, why are you offering it to me? So this guy said very nice word. He said, to die is a passing pain, but to be poor is an eternal anguish. And I don't need it. It's better to die loved one in youth and not be hated in old age. So you take this fruit, do whatever you want to do with it, but let me go. Okay. So he was basically putting a price for that fruit, which genuinely had those characteristics that he was talking about. So king said, okay, deal on. So he takes this fruit. You see the fruit? Apple, basically. It was an apple. He took that apple from him. And the Brahmin was compensated for the apple and he went off. However, because the king, as you see, is head over heels with Pingala, he gave the fruit to her. Okay, he's giving the fruit to Pingala because he wants to enjoy his romantic life with Pingala for the rest of eternity. Now Pingala got it and she was like, okay, this is what the fruit does. But the king had a bodyguard like Salman Khan, you see. She was in love with this bodyguard, Daroga. Okay. Now she was in love with this. You know, you've seen the triangles in love stories. Same thing happened then also. You know, some of the script writers probably take inspiration from there as well. So that fruit, which would keep you youthful and romantic for the rest of your life, was handed over by Pingala to this bodyguard, okay, of the king. Story doesn't stop here. This bodyguard had a soft corner for a maid. Okay. So the bodyguard said, what am I going to do with it? He passed it on to the maid, who he was head over heels for. Okay, this maid in the same Rajpat. Now the maid had it. Maid was smart. Maid said, okay, bodyguard is fine, but I have to think about my long-term interests in life. So she said, okay, let me trade off this fruit for something monetary. And what does she do? She actually takes this fruit and offers it back to the king. Okay, so that fruit comes back to the king. In return for the money, she gives it to the king. And the day king sees that fruit, what happens? That head over heel thing is corrected. You see that? Now he's fine. Immediately he develops Vairagya. He understands the nature of the world, the love that he felt for Pingala. He was willing to lay down his life for her. She loved that daroga, that bodyguard, that loved that maid, and maid was like, she just cared about her interests only. So this sage, this king actually went on to become a rishi. And when he was in love with Pingala, he had written this Shatak, okay, Shringar Shatak. Can check it out. It's there in our literature, okay, for people who it's for romantic people basically. But then after that, when his head over heel spell was over, he wrote Niti Shatak, 100 verses on morality, and Vairagya Shatak. And he went on to, he actually renounced his kingdom. In fact, his brother also came into the mix, but anyway, he gave his kingdom to his younger brother. His name was Vikramaditya, and rest is history. But this is the nature of the love in this world. It is self-seeking, and everybody is operating from a position of complete selfishness. It is called dosa love, right? Dance of selfish ambitions, nothing more than that. Now, you may not agree. We'll take scriptural reference for it as well, okay? But this is one of the stories I had came across, so I thought we'll bring that to our discussion as well. By the way, I came across a very funny joke on love marriages, so I thought I'll pull it up as well today. Love marriages, you see, right? So many love marriages happen here. In fact, when I was doing my master's here, a lot of my classmates, they were Americans and Western. They used to be amazed. I just have one brother, one mother and one father only, right? So for them, half mother, stepmother, biological mother, this, that, too many things were there. Why? Because they kept on falling in love and they kept on falling out of love. Okay, that is how it kept on happening. And falling in love is the easiest thing to do. You can do it so many times, right? So that kept on happening. One of the person, he's told me that, me and my wife, we separated after 35 years of marriage. I said, what happened? He said, I don't love her anymore. So you grow out of love and you fall into love. That is the definition of love in this world. So this is an interesting one. So here's a guy. So he says that, what? He fell in love with the widow. So he fell in love with a widow, apparently, who had a stepdaughter. Okay. So then what happens? The things start getting interested. Okay. His father fell in love with his stepdaughter. Okay. That is the relationship that was established. So then what happens is his father became his son-in-law, and he himself became his father's father-in-law. Okay, and then what happens? His daughter becomes his mother, and his mother becomes his grandmother as well. But the plot thickened further when he got a son, right? So when his son came, his father's brother, he was technically his father's brother, so he became his uncle. As if this was not enough, then his father also had a son. And when his father had a son, so what happens? That son became his brother and a grandson. So anyways, not confusing you further, finally ended up becoming his own grandfather and own grandson. So when you fall into love, such kind of complexities can happen. Okay, this is all worldly love, by the way. We have not gotten into the true definition of love as yet. Okay, but this was an interesting joke I came across. I thought I'll put it up. So now let's get into Happy Gopi Prem Divas to all of you, which is, people call it Valentine Day, but we'll call it Gopi Prem Divas. And we'll talk about that love as well. Let's look at it from a scriptural lens. What is it? Why are we discussing this? Scriptures say there are three kinds of love which are possible in this world. One is called lust, which is called kaam. Okay. The second one is called business, which is called vyapar. And the third one is called love, which is prem. So it has further categorized the worldly love into 3 categories. Okay, now we will talk or try to understand this a little more, okay, through some visuals. Now, if you look at your screen, what do you see on your screen? 1, 2, 3. The first one on the left hand side. Anybody? Yes.
Yes, Samji, Radhe Radhe.
What's the difference between the 3 pictures? I mean, it's so cool. I'll
Yeah, I see 4. I see 3. One is taking and putting. One is putting.
True. So if you look at, yes, Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Yes,
The
Rahul.
withdrawal and deposit. Yeah, those are the...
Yes, true. So this will bring us to the, yes, Prabhat, you wanted to add something?
Sorry. Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Bye-bye. Go ahead. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Radhe
Yeah.
Radhe. So basically, I just want to add here, like the worldly relation and love that we have is that we all the relation is of depositing and withdrawing. So it's like first we have to deposit something and then we can withdraw. So all the love that we have here is all depend upon the amount of what we deposited in that particular relationship.
True, very true. Yeah, let's get them done, then we'll pick up on this discussion. So yes, the first one is the lust, where you only do withdrawals. You see, you're getting the withdrawals here. That is how it goes. The second one is called business, where you are not only withdrawing but depositing as well. Yes, Monica ji, you wanted to add something? And the third one is called love, where you are making deposits. Okay. This is typically how the worldly relationships go. Anybody wanted to add anything before I get a little more into this theory?
No, just another word for it, Nitinji. I was just saying give and take.
Give and take. Yeah, it's a very euphemistic, nice term, give and take, right? Basically, it's called Vyapar in our scriptures. It is a transactional relationship that we have established. Now we'll talk about it. It's kind of a revolutionary concept, at least for me. It's like, oh my God, are we like this? Well, how about the other relationships that we look at? So we'll talk about it. So the first one, as you see, only withdrawals, okay, which is also called exploitation in a way. Okay, it doesn't work for too long. People get stuck in that relationship if they don't have a recourse, but it's a ticking time bomb. Second one is business vyapar, which is how the world operates. If you say how much percentage of the world operates, probably 99.9. Right? There are some saints out there as well. That is a different thing. 99.9%. It's a transactional stuff. You scratch my back, I'll do. Then the moment that withdrawal deposit balance start shaking, the model will collapse. And third one is deposits, which we have to reach a particular stage to be able to do deposits only. Okay. Deposits can only be done by people who have nothing more basically to be what you call withdrawn. They've already withdrawn or gotten what they needed. Then only they will not make withdrawals. They will only make deposits. So these are the 3 relationships that are possible in this world. Now, if that is the case, why in the world are we able to carry out relationships? If everybody is driven by their self-interest and it is a transaction, then most of the relationships should be crumbling apart. But we see marriages last, relationships last, people are able to navigate and work through properly, right? And the reason for that is, it's a very valid question. So this is how the worldly love goes. Now let's look at it, why we are able to sustain this in this world. Okay. The reason it goes is because, let's look at it. Yeah, so this is, okay, so in the first one, the goal is to take. That is the whole objective of that relationship. Okay, which is we look upon it as a sensual desire, but scriptures inform us that self-seeking nature or intention is lust. When you are just thinking about yourself and not about the other person, it is called the first category of love, which is lust, when you are self-seeking alone. The second category that we spoke about, business vyapar, where when we engage in this, it's like reciprocity based. Give and take, that is business. Such relationship is called a barter. Okay. And the third one is love prem, when our goal is to give, give and give. Okay. Now you'll say, what kind of a thing is that? You give and give, right? You'll become a doormat. But that is what saints do. They don't have no objective for themselves to be served. They can just give and give. We are not there yet. We have to reach that stage. And it's like you don't do love. You become, at that point, that's the only thing you can offer. Now, why does the worldly relation don't crumble? If it is based on such a shaky foundation, why don't these crumble just like that? And there's a reason for that. They don't crumble just like that, right? We see so many lasting relationships. Let's look at that as well. Okay, it's in serving one gets served and giving one receives. That's a bigger principle. We'll talk more in detail tomorrow, but let's see. It is because you see these two guys nicely facing each other and smiling at each other as well. This is what he's thinking. This is what she might be thinking, okay? And nobody has access to minds reading. We are not Siddh yet, right? We can't read each other's mind. So because of that, because we cannot read mind, and we figure out how to do sufficient amount of deposits and withdrawal, with behavioral competence, we are able to sustain relationships. If in this world people could read each other's mind, then swords will be out, the whole world will go on war. No marriage would sustain itself, okay, beyond a few days. They say, right, marriage is anyway that institution in which the romantic protagonists, they die in the first chapter itself. Forget about marriage. Even when you're living at home, all the relationships that you deal with, if people could read each other's minds, it will be trouble in this world, big time. And that is why it's good we don't have siddhis, okay? And the second thing is behavioral competence, where people, they understand over a period of time. The wisdom is in understanding that how much deposits are needed before I can make a withdrawal. And people who are able to strike that balance, they are able to sustain relationships. Others, they just grow out of love and move on. And they keep on doing that. They don't learn the lesson, and that symptom starts repeating in all walks of their life. So if you run away from that, you don't learn to navigate, you have not cured the problem. Problem still remains. So the reason the world is operating and not the entire world has gone to war is only because of our behavioral competence that some people develop over time. People who are not able to develop that, relations break. Okay. And it's a good thing we can't read mind. Now you would say, how can you say that, right? Parental love is there, right? My parents love me, my friend loves me, my brother loves me. All that is good. That is fine. But is it completely selfless? It is not yet. It might be much better than what you are used to in the world, but it is still not completely selfless. That also comes from a position of entitlement, that I am so and so of yours. So, and that is why you need to do this for me. And that is why Yashoda Maiya did not get a seat when Maharaj happened. It was only for souls who were completely devoid of self-interest, completely selfless. Tat sukh sukhitvam. At that stage, when somebody reaches, right, of course, it's not a state we can reach on our self-efforts alone, then God gives you divine love. And it is a process basically that we have to follow. Do we have a technology available to actually reach that stage? Self-help books on Amazon, or a course in Harvard or IIT or in MIT that tells you how to become, good, or remove the evil from your heart, or how to selflessly develop love so that you can get divine love from God? No, unfortunately, no. Where is that technology? Spiritual technology is the only technology which can take you closer to that goal and help you become a better version of yourself. You can achieve a lot of things materially. You can become the best scientist, next path-breaking technology entrepreneur or whatever. But when it comes to truly decorating yourself from inside, other than spiritual technology, there's absolutely nothing you can bank upon. So this true love is a very deep term. This whole universe is, this emotion moves the entire universe. However, we are scratching the surface of it. For us to really achieve that true love, we have to invest on ourselves. And tomorrow we will go deeper into how do I make my heart full of love and prayer? What are the things I can do? What is that technology that can make my heart a fertile ground for that purity that is needed to progress? Otherwise, we are not. We are working in an autopilot mode without even knowing that there's so much of evil, impurities, selfishness deep rooted in our heart. Okay, then layer by layer, when you start reading yourself, you understand, oh my God, now I'm also selfish. This is where I was selfish. And our selfishness comes in a very, very nice way. So your intellect will not tell you you are selfish. It will say, I care for people. But deep within, you are still caring for yourself only. But the closest relationship that comes to being selfless in this material world is the umbilical cord relationship that of a mother with a child, because she has given birth to that child, not even father and a child. Okay. But other relationships, they are self-seeking. It is transactional, vyapar, in true sense. Now, if you're able to manage it, navigate it, fine. Otherwise, you'll complain, oh, and how could this guy be like this and that? What the big deal? Everybody is operating out of self-interest. You are also operating. The other person also did that. So what's the big deal? We cry foul in our life. And think about it. We are also operating from our self-interest only. And somebody else is doing that. So what's the big deal? Just a variation in proportion, probably nothing more or less at that point. Okay, any questions so far? It's a pretty profound topic. I'll post a question. These are the two extremes. Now, is it really possible for us to exercise this? Two extremes are, one is prem, other one is lust, and then in between vyapar. You can keep on changing the proportion, which side you want to tilt on with your relationships. But do we really have the ability to, exercise true love towards anybody around us? And if yes, how can we do that? If no, why can't we? Let's have a bit of a discussion, or any question you may have on what we have spoken about today. Hopefully, I did not spoil your Valentine's Day. Okay, don't fight and say you are selfish. Let's just have a deeper understanding around this concept. Okay, that's all.
There is an anonymous question.
Sure.
That is about whether there exists the true love, the only giving love in the material world, in the worldly relations.
I said the closest that comes is a mother-child relationship. Otherwise, we haven't seen. It's like a beggar asking another beggar for money. Neither we have achieved perfect love, nor has anybody else. So how can we give? Our cup should be overflowing, right? To give somebody. The key is to have behavioral competence to just manage relationship with a sense of responsibility and building a compassion, towards other people, regardless of which relation we are in. But we are truly not capable of giving that true love that everybody is seeking, right? So Bollywood has spoiled our minds. And now people say true love, you have not given that option of, that field with mustard leaves in DDLJ, right? That's where true love is found. Of course not. Okay, it's all a figment of your imagination, and we vicariously think somebody is going to create that perfect world. It's not possible. Nowhere it is possible. Scriptures have told us we don't have to second guess around it.
There are a couple of comments. Can I read them? So Ulvi says, humans are not selfless. All have self-interest at the back of mind. I know animals are also not selfless, but I have still not been able to convince myself of this. Like birds, deers, etc. I've seen some clips of a bird freezing to death to save its eggs, and a deer calling a lion towards itself to save its younger one. What makes them perform such acts of selflessness? Some device fitted by God. Okay, it's a question. Yeah.
True, possibly, because they are scripted, right? So they are acting in accordance to their script. They don't have that ability to think and discriminate, right? So whatever as per their script, they are doing their best, and there can be those kind of things that can happen, because animals, that's a bhog yoni. So they are not getting fruit of their actions in any way. So however they are scripted, they'll do it to the best of their ability. The point is, selfless love is very rare and sublime, and it is tat sukh sukhitvam. We'll talk about this concept more tomorrow, because it's a very deep topic. But today's introduction was to just understand the worldly love and put it in perspective. Okay, so next time somebody comes and say, I love you, you say, all right, are you kidding me? How much we can love, we all know that. And that is how it is. Our scriptures say that. So we just need to understand, if we truly want to have a loving heart, there's a technology that you have to, there's a process you have to follow. Otherwise, our heart does not even have an ability. How can you sprout something which is does not even exist in your heart at this point, right? So there's a process to take strides towards that. Otherwise, it's just not, we don't have that capability as yet.
There are like some beautiful lines shared by Ashutosh ji. Jagat ke prem ka bandhan parinama, nitya seva parinam prem shama shama.
Very nice. Yes.
And yes, I guess we can move further.
My first introduction to this word love, when I was in my school was not very encouraging. I think I told earlier also. So I had approached somebody with a lot of expectations to get her opinion on what do you think love is. And I was bluntly told it's loss of valuable energy. And I was shocked. I said, what kind of a definition it is, right? So anyways, that was one part. But then that definition stuck with me for a while until I met Swamiji. Said, okay, now that person was wrong, and no wonder, that person did not give me a right definition. So then I got a very nice closure around it. But it is not like that. It's a very deep, profound term. We just have to grow into it. Yes.
Yes, Surinder ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji, the topic you have GPD, what is Gopi Prem Day? I understand the parental love is more of returning. But the parents were also kids at some time.
True.
So they have received the love from their parents. And now the God has made us so attuned that whatever we have received, we must return to our next generation.
Pitririn, Matririn, like they say, right? Yeah, true.
So I think the moment we realize through the grace of God that we must think of returning, and that I think is inbuilt by the grace of God, that the parents are doing the real love, I would say, through that point of view.
Parents, they do them, they come closest to that selfless love. And within parents also, mother, she has that natural umbilical cord relationship, and they come very true. And it typically flows top down. The parents, what they do for their kids, it's always more than what kids usually can return back, because that love or that sense of thing, that it's much more intense from parents towards child, and further on like that, right? As opposed to the other way around. They also feel the same, but the intensity would vary. It's not the same usually. That is how it goes. But very true point. Very nice, Surendraji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
There's another question from Pooja Singh ji. We know that we are amid worldly love. Everyone is operating with self-interest, as you have said. So in this case, how are we supposed to behave with them? How to return love to them?
We don't go and fight with them. You are selfish. I know now. I've understood the scriptures. We simply operate from a position of understanding that they are selfish and so are we. But in this lifetime, we have been put together for a purpose. So we are going to support each other in our best possible way so that we can uplift each other in their journey, as opposed to creating roadblocks for them. So that is where the prudence or wisdom comes in. Right? So we don't go and fight around with people, because if they are selfish, we are selfish too, right? But then we just operate. That is where behavioral competence or EQ, I wanted to talk maybe, I don't want to rush through that, because I had kept this topic as well as part of moving into EQ, right? There are different stages of our life. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. So EQ is very important. Developing emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence is very important for us to be successful in any walk of life. And that is where developing that EQ and SQ is very important, so that we can navigate through the relationships. See, the real test of relationship is, are you bringing out the best in each other, or are you bringing out the worst in each other? And if you're bringing out the worst in each other far more frequently, then something needs to be corrected. But if you are able to bring in the best, that is fine. If we are selfish, so what? One day we will become selfless. We are work in progress, right? We are WIPs. We are not VIPs yet. We are work in progress, WIPs. Some people read that W as VVIPs, very, very important person. But no, that is W, okay? Work in progress, not VIP.
Yeah, one quick comment from Arunji. Valentine's Day over for many folks.
No, that was not the intent. It was just to put it in perspective. And we'll talk about true love tomorrow. We'll get into today we said, okay, this is what it is not. Tomorrow we'll say this is what it should be. So we'll cover both parts of it.
Okay, taking the next hand, Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yes, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now I was wondering, isn't attachment part of love? You know, like loving God involves attachment, and here we are practicing detachment. So it's the same, it's a skill to, it's the same skill, right? You are practicing detachment, but at the same time, we have to attach our mind to God.
Yeah, so the process of spiritualities, it's like two vessels you have, right? Both sides. You take from one and put it on the other, right? So detachment from the world and attachment with God. So that attachment, when you dovetail it towards God, it becomes a strength. It doesn't become a weakness. But that same attachment in the worldly realm will become your weakness, make you vulnerable. So detachment from world, attachment to God. In fact, you don't even have to do it as a two-step process. The more attachment you develop to God, that much. See, if you are 10% attached to God, 10% of your anger, envy, greed, all that stuff, and detachment from world has already happened. 20% to God, 20% anger has reduced, 20% your envy and other afflictions have reduced, and 20% detachment you have developed to the world. Because there is no third place, right? Mind cannot be in a pending state. It is either in God or in world. There's no third place. You say, no, it is hanging in balance. Where in balance? It has to be in world or God. So when you make your attachment to God, it becomes your strength. And that is something we need to practice. And that is the whole idea of developing devotion and deepening our love for God.
Beautiful. And Sairam ji also says, the only true Valentines are God and Guru.
Yeah, soulmate is a very interesting concept, right? Who is the true soulmate? The true soulmate is only God, because he's the one who continues to accompany us lifetime after lifetime, even when we become donkeys or any other species. He is the only soulmate we have. Nobody else is a soulmate here. He's the true Sambandhi, so to say, if you think about it. Yeah, very true. I can see few new hands.
Yes, so
Ashwinji and
yeah, Ashwin ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So one thing I can tell about it is, for example, if you want to practice that, seeing every person that we deal with in our day-to-day lives or even at work, seeing Lord Krishna in them, or like any of your Ishta Devata, that we like, seeing that in them, it is little tough, because whenever someone makes you annoyed at work or like in family, then you'll be like, man, today Krishna is being little, annoying, but at least that will bring out the compassion, that will bring out forgiveness slowly and eventually, day by day, you will become like selfless, and you will be thinking not from a transactional standpoint, but you will be doing it more from like a bhakti yoga and then karma yoga combined together, because you're dealing with people in day-to-day life, but you're doing it more as a service rather than as a transaction. And then also you're also inculcating bhakti whenever you're looking at other beings. So that's one practical approach to do. It's a little tough, but I think it's possible still.
very true. And that's the way we can build that consciousness that we are doing it for the pleasure of God and practicing divinity in others. Very true. And until that point, we start having that spiritual attunement, we will continue to be selfish. And that's the only way where we can break this cycle. Beautiful point, Ashwinji. Now, there was a guy, he said, God is present in everyone, and he starts flirting with his wife's friends. Okay. What are you doing? He said, don't you know, haven't you heard those discourses that God is present? Why are you feeling upset about it? She said, fair enough. And then she goes, he comes back for dinner, and he put some mud in front of him, said, go eat it. He said, how can I eat it? He said, don't you know God is present in everything? So why don't you try it out? Point is, yeah, we need to use that judiciously. But yes, that is a consciousness we need to build, where we are doing it for the pleasure of God and seeing divinity and good in others. Very nice. Thank you so much. Okay.
Many more hands. So, okay, I'll just go sequentially. Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. I have a question that we have two world, a spiritual world, and second is material world. So which side we need to selfish?
Selfish in the spiritual world, supremely selfish. See, we are selfish, but the problem is we don't know where our self-interest is going to get served. Actually, our self-interest will get served in spiritual side only. But because of our erroneous knowledge and understanding and thinking of ourselves as a body, we have started fulfilling our self-interest in the material world, which is not happening, and we are not understanding, and we continue to retry that. So it becomes super selfish when it comes to God. No harm at all. It becomes your strength, right? And that is where your true self-interest would get served. Maharaj used to say that we are all swarthi, but सही सही ये भी समझ आ जाए हमारा स्वार्थ कहाँ सिद्ध होगा तब भी बात बन जाए. We don't even know where our self-interest is going to get served. It's good to be selfish in the spiritual world.
Okay, thank you, Nitinji.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Ramesh. Yes,
There's
Himani. Let's check with Himani. Did I spoil your Valentine today, Himani? Go ahead.
okay. Radhe Radhe Mani.
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe. My question is it possible to do like keep doing worldly bhog without attachment?
Worldly what?
Worldly bhog without attachment.
Worldly, sorry, I missed that term.
Worldly bhog?
Worldly bhog without attachment?
Yeah, and keep doing it. Like, is it sustainable?
Why would you do bhog? See, any endeavor that we do, including a lunatic or a madman, will do it because some kind of self-interest or bliss is being derived from it. And when bliss is derived, that means you're intellectually convinced this is something which is going to give me happiness. That means there's a level of attachment there. How would somebody do something which is not giving them bliss, or for that matter, they are not attached to it? I mean, attached means you are attached to the happiness that particular thing or object is giving you. May not be an emotional attachment, but some kind of attachment is still there, right? Because it's giving you some kind of a pleasure.
Yeah, it gives pleasure, it gives happiness, but if it doesn't anymore, then you're not attached to it.
True. That is very true. You grow out of it then. Immediately you'll leave it.
Oh, we will leave it?
Yeah, we have, like we used to enjoy, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of friends who used to love to play with dolls, right? When they were kids. And then they stopped playing with dolls, that they started playing with some bigger toys. And then they left those also. And then they started playing with the social media toys, and then they left those also. Then they started playing golf, and then they left the, so they grow out of things as they keep on. So when you get the higher taste, you leave the lower taste.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, you have no option, no reason, no incentive to leave that taste. Only when your senses will get a better taste, will you leave a lower taste. So we have to give it a better taste. Otherwise, your senses will complain, they will rebel, and they'll say, no, I'm happy with what I'm doing. So we have to give it a better taste.
Got it.
We have spoken, we can talk about more, how can we give it a better taste? And so.
Got it. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
No worries. Radhe Radhe.
There are two more comments if I can quickly read them. So Golap ji says selfless happiness is only love for God and Guru, only happiness of God. Ananya Bhakti, like the Gopi Prem. And with another selfless love, Seva. And she's just very grateful for this session, which is beautiful and wonderful. Amazing session is what she's saying. And Urvi has shared this line by Maharaj ji. Joy Swarat Pahichan Dhanya Soi.
Joy Swarat Pahichan Dhanya Soi. Yeah. Person who can truly understand where the self-interest will get served is a smart and very intelligent person. Very true. That's very simple. Beautiful.
Yes. And okay, Ashwinji says one way to get detached is by following the path of dharma. Then even bhog becomes detachment and more of a service.
True. With knowledge, we have to, beat this thing. That's the only way, where we do it with the spirit of sight. And unless we start giving better taste to our senses, it will not get it. Why do people do seva? They are not punishing themselves. They are getting better taste in seva and doing things with a spirit of sacrifice for God than doing potlucks and those parties with their friends. Okay, then only they will switch to that. Otherwise, they will not. But for them to reach to that stage, they have to exert a little bit initially. Nobody's punishing here, trust me. Now, people who are doing seva, they think, what a wastage of time these guys are doing in the world. People in the world are thinking, what a wastage of time these guys are doing. because everybody is doing it for their self-interest only, right? Wherever they are getting happiness, so you can't understand. But you have to, the key here, the scriptures tell us, is give your senses higher taste, and that higher taste would only come when you are intellectually convinced through a higher level of knowledge. Don't go with Bahumat, go with Shreshthmat, right? Shreshthmat comes from scriptures. Bahumat will come from world. No, 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 go party. This is not the age. This time you should be watching a movie or having fun. Okay. And why are you becoming Baba and all this stuff? That is Bahumat. Shreshthmat is start giving your senses, tame them, give it a better ras, and then rest will become a history. Before you realize, you will start relishing this path, and every day will become a celebration. Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Abhishek ji, please go ahead. Abhishek ji, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Okay, you may want to fix your audio, Abhishek. In the meantime, let's hear from Rahul.
Radhe Radhe Rahul ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Maharaj ji always says that संसार में अपनी पूरी बुद्धि का प्रयोग करके पात्र
Radhe Radhe everyone. So when I first came to
Abhishek, your audio is breaking. You may want to fix it. In the meantime, we will have Rahul complete. Yes, Rahul, continue, please.
Yeah, so Maharaj ji always says that in the material world, we have to utilize our intellect.
I think
I'm
also unable to unmute. I don't know.
Okay, I can try. Yeah, now you are unmuted. So Abhishek, we can have Rahul complete it, and then I'll unmute you and you can talk about it as well. I think hopefully your audio is fixed by then. Yes, Rahul.
I think it is autopilot.
Can't
It's
hear you.
muted, but we can hear him, and I don't know. It's a little.
Something is not right, Abhishek. You may want to text him on that. So you may want to rejoin, Abhishek, then it may
Yeah,
fix
I guess that would be better.
Yeah. Yeah, Rahul, finish it off.
महाराज जी यही कहते हैं कि संसार में अपनी पूरी बुद्धि का इस्तेमाल करके पात्र के अनुसार व्यवहार करना है और हरि गुरु से प्यार करना है, यही अंतर है.
Yes, very true. Behavioral competence is basically tailoring or calibrating our words, thoughts, emotions, and behavior in accordance with whom we are dealing with. That is where we have to use our buddhi. Buddhi in world, man in God. Because if we don't do that, then we will end up in trouble with people, relationships, and everything around. They'll bog us down. Very true.
And Aparna ji says also a funny observation in the story of Bhartihari king. Instead of giving the whole fruit, why didn't the king share the fruit with Pingala? He wanted her to be youthful and not himself? With a question.
I think the question that Brahmin said was the whole fruit, okay? That is probably why. Even if you have 50% of the fruit, it won't have worked, okay? So probably that is why. Otherwise, he would have distributed it to 3-4 people, right? But the good thing is his head over heel thing got corrected towards the end, and he wrote some very nice scriptures afterwards. Yes, Abhishek, are you back now? Abhishek was back probably.
Is he back? I asked him to raise hand if his internet is fine.
Yes,
no. No, he's saying.
Okay, let's hear then. By the way, any quick announcements you wanted to make?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. So I'll just quickly make announcements. I've already posted them all. We have Mahashivratri celebrations coming up at the temple. There's going to be a lot of fun and grand celebrations of Shiva and Parvati's wedding. It'll be online as well as offline, so people can attend it via any of the modes. I've shared the link. It'll be like a festival, so do not miss out on it. And also we have Holy Bhakti Yoga online sadhana shivir starting in India from 22nd to 26th in Bandra campus. And this is the last shivir of the year in India. So people, I would encourage whoever can go and attend it in person, do relish it. And also you can attend it virtually. So the link has been shared. You can register yourselves.
Yeah, we have Seva Sadhana week also coming up, March 5th, I believe. So if you
Yes.
are planning to come over, your accommodation, everything will be taken care of. So please do come over, plan it out. It will be a very immersive experience for all of you. Great.
Yes. So we have one more hand, and after that, we already have a request of a devotional
Sure.
segment by Sonali ji. So
Sure.
looking forward to it as well. So Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, you're welcome to stay back for the devotional segment, and we'll be wrapping up our discussions soon. So thank you. Yes, Monica ji, please.
Yes, Nitin ji, I just wanted to reiterate what you told me once in the beginning when I started joining Bhagavad Gita sessions about material energy, right? So you said that God's material energy, like Yog Maya, is basically destined. I mean, we are destined to get disappointed if we are into material stuff, right? And Yog Maya itself pushes us towards the Lord.
Maya.
That's maybe, yes. And then also your one line that never underestimate Maya. You think that you're falling in love with this person, I'll be happy, but that never happens.
This is a universal rule that the thing that you put your hopes and a lot of happiness, you pin your happiness on, is going to disappoint you. That is an Akartya niyam of this Maya, because Maya does not have an ability to give you happiness, right? And its eventual job is to slap you back towards its master. And people burn their fingers and still continue to burn their fingers. Okay. They think, okay, this time I'm wronged, I will take a revenge, and after that, I will live happily ever after. But this cycle continues and continues and continues. So smartness is to understand what saints are saying and align to those principles as quickly as possible. Force your mind to do that. Yeah, very true.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. So
hopefully I made everybody's Valentine's Day today. So thank you. I appreciate that. In India, it has just started, but I've already set the tone on Valentine's Eve for everyone. Tomorrow we'll talk about what true love is. Okay. Today we said what true love is not. So tomorrow we'll go a little more deeper onto some of these concepts.
Ashutosh ji has raised hand. Okay. Is it for the devotional segment? Radhe Radhe Ashutosh ji.
Okay, for the benefit of everybody else, we typically wrap up our discussion at 10, and then you're welcome to stay back for our devotional segment where we chant our way to glory. So you're welcome to stay back.
Yes.
Abhishek, if you are back, you can talk. I think we missed part of your conversation.
Yes, Abhishek ji, if it's fine, you can just raise your hand. We'll unmute you after Ashutosh ji. Yes, Ashutosh ji, sorry. Please go ahead.
I just said a couple of lines from Sama Sangeet.
Anji.
छीन छीन बाढ़े सोई प्रेम निष्कामा छीन छीन घटे जोई सोई नाम काम राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे. Selfless love is that which continues keep on increasing, and the one which keep decreasing time by time, it is not love, it is lust. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you. That's a beautiful verse from Maharaj ji. Thank you, Ashutosh, for pulling that up. Okay, whom do we have next? Himani is going to sing, or Abhishek? Is Abhishek back? We couldn't hear.
Abhishek ji has network issue, and I don't think he'll be able to.
Okay, no worries. Then we can get into the singing. Yes, Himani, you're going to sing? Okay, cool.
Yeah, Himani and Sonali ji is also.
Sonali ji, yeah, you can please, because you raised your hand, so we can have Sonali ji and Himani ji on our Valentine Day special chanting today. Go ahead.
Who goes first?
Sonali ji, you there?
Yes, okay. Sonali ji, we'll have you first. I think it's your debut bhajan.
Let's put Sonali ji on spotlight today.
Oh, please don't. Oh my gosh.
No pressure whatsoever, Sonali ji. Please go ahead.
Just a few lines. Happy Gopi Prem Divas, everyone. I'll just sing a few lines. मन करूं सुमिरन राधा, है जीवन धन राधा, श्याम हूँ स्वामिनी राधा, जय जयति जयति राधा, मन करूं सुमिरन राधा, है जीवन धन राधा, श्याम हूँ स्वामिनी राधा, जय जयति जयति राधा, रटू नित्य नाम राधा, नित गाऊं गुणन राधा, नित ध्यावहु छवि राधा, जय जयति जयति राधा, राधे राधे राधे, राधे राधे राधे, राधे राधे राधे, राधे राधे राधे, मन करूं सुमिरन राधा, है जीवन धन राधा, श्याम हूँ स्वामिनी राधा, जय जयति जयति राधा, राधे राधे.
Very nice, beautiful, Sonali ji. You've got a very melodious voice, and your sur and tal were like spot on. Loved it. Do you sing normally?
I sing for the satsangs here.
Wonderful. Very nice.
Thank you for giving the opportunity.
You made your debut today here, so it's our privilege to have you sing on Valentine Day Eve for us. Thank you so much.
Radhe Radhe.
Loved it. Thank you so much for that.
Beautiful, Sonali ji. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing more from you. You are also our
I'm glad I was right
nightingale.
before Himani ji. So, I know she's amazing.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much. And thank you for turning on your video as well.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe,
Radhe.
All right.
Okay. Golab ji and Himani ji.
Gaurabji, you wanted to go real quick? I wanted Himani, and then after Himani can gather a little more breathes in the meantime.
Okay. Golab ji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe everyone, Radhe Radhe. Koti Koti Naman, Hari and Guruji. I'm very, very happy Valentine's Day with happy Gopi Prem Divas to all. I would like to add 2 lines only.
Okay.
Guru Paya, Guru Paya, आपकी कृपा से गुरु पाया, गुरु पाया, गुरु पाया, तेरी कृपा से गुरु पाया, मेहरबान साहेब, मेहरबान साहेब, तेरी मेहरबान साहेब, गुरु पाया, गुरु पाया, आपकी कृपा से गुरु पाया. Thank you so much. My
Thank you,
loving
Golabji. Happy Gopi Divas, and thank you so much for singing and in a bhav way. Thank you very much. All right, Himani, all yours now. Let's do that, and then we'll wrap up with our Himani's chanting and bhajan for the day.
Okay, I found something very relevant for Valentine's Day from Premras Madira. So can I share
Okay.
my screen? I will just share the
Sure,
song's
go
meaning.
ahead.
Mhm.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Am I? Yes, I have given you the co-host privileges. Just try now.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is from Premras Madira, which means Kishoriji's eyes are extremely reddish, and it appears as if the nectar of the most intimate kind of divine love, which is Premanand, oozes from her eyes day and night. So yeah, so this song expresses that, Radhaji's eyes are reddish from the divine love. So I have 2 lines prepared, so I will sing that.
Sure.
रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो की रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो की राधे जो की रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो की रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो की सरस सराती रस सरस प्रेम रस चुवता मन हो दिन रैन किशोरी जो के राधे जो के प्यारी जो के रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो के रत्नारी दो नैन किशोरी जो के
Beautiful, Himani. You make us speechless and take us to a different world altogether. A very appropriate bhajan you picked up for the occasion of Gopi Prem Divas. So thank you so much for that. Love it. You are just raising the bar, with regards to your singing. So very nice. Loved it. Anybody who wants to say anything to Himani or otherwise, are we good?
Very beautiful. And I guess Valentine's Day is incomplete without singing the glories of Radharani. So thank you so much
You made
for
it
doing
complete,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. I think with that, we come to the end of today's session. Tomorrow, we'll talk more about how do we build a loving and a prayerful heart. Okay, it's an important concept to understand. So we'll get into that and continue our discussion tomorrow. And have a wonderful rest of your day and Gopi Prem Divas and enjoy your day. Okay, don't pick up a fight. Okay, just because we have understood we are all selfish now.
Pallavi ji, okay, that's to everyone. So everyone has read. I really liked her comment. She
Yes.
felt like, why did you stop singing? It should just continue. Go. It should just go on.
All good things come to an end, and so is Himani's chanting on this session as well. So maybe one of the sessions we'll have Himani sing for 30, 40, 50 minutes. Okay, you can plan for a session like that.
Awesome. Shyamji wants to add his expert comment, it seems. Okay, Radhe Radhe Shyamji, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Radhe Radhe. I just wanted to say कि हिमानी जी हमारे सत्संग की लता मंगेशकर है. That's it. She sings so melodiously कि we just go. I do not, as जैसे पल्लवी जी ने कहा कि भाई जी से स्टॉप, मुझे लगा भी बोलेंगी अभी गाएंगी, एंड हम वहीं खो गए थे. मतलब शायद किसी किसी के कानों में आवाज भी आ रही थी कुछ गा रही है वो, बट सडनली रियलाइज नहीं वो रुक गई है. शी स्विंग्स सो सॉफ्टली एंड सो भावपूर्ण कि समझ नहीं आता कि हम कहाँ बैठे हैं. एंड इफ यू क्लोज योर आईज यू कैन जस्ट इवन फील व्हाट शी इज सिंगिंग, यू कैन सी व्हाट शी इज सिंगिंग. आई थिंक वी ऑल कैन फील द सेम वे. राधे राधे.
Very true, Himani. That's a great compliment for you. So, see, all of you, all of us have, so that you take us to a different word altogether. So, yes, she's the nightingale. So, we can tell her Kokilai, daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. She's nightingale
Yes.
of.
And yeah, it was a great devotional segment by everybody. Thank you so much, Sonali ji, for your debut performance, and Golab ji and Himani, definitely. So, thank you all. And look forward to having everyone tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe from my side. Have a good day.